got like 212s in here. Car vibrates like crazy, man. Like all the girls look at me every time I'm at a stoplight, anywhere, you name it, I'm the man. So yeah, check it out. I did the install myself too, man. It's pretty sweet. What do you think?
Has this ever happened to you? Have you or a loved one ever been a victim of car vandalism or theft? I can help you out. Come on inside.
Let's do this. So check it out. Jay.
Hey, what's up, guys? So today I want to talk to you about the difference between alarm versus security system. So an alarm system, sorry, my alarm's going off. Let me stop that one. So an alarm makes noise, right? It doesn't protect anything, it doesn't do anything. A true security system is going to actually protect your vehicle and keep your contents in it yours, right? So what we want to do is we want to install security systems in your vehicle. Because let's face it, an alarm system is only as good as someone hearing it. And nowadays, we're all prone to it. Like we hear it all the time, so we just tune it out. I mean, think about the time that you're at the grocery store and someone's alarm's going off. Do you even pay attention? And if you did look, would you stop and help them out and say, hey, that's somebody's car you're breaking into? Or would you just keep walking and minding your own business? So that's the difference between an alarm system versus a security system. So let's talk about factory alarms versus security. So a factory alarm system, it's okay, right? So if someone breaks the window and they reach into your car and open the door, it's going to set the factory alarm off. Your horn's going to honk. Everybody's going to look at it and say, oh, someone set off their factory alarm, and just keep moving. Someone's trying to find their car or whatever, because let's face it, on a factory alarm, all it's doing is honking the horn. If you hit the panic button, all it does is honk the horn. So nobody pays attention to them anymore. So with our systems, you're actually going to have a siren. It's a 6-tone, 128 decibel siren that changes sounds and makes a lot of noise, but people kind of hear that a lot too. So one thing we can do to make it a little bit extra is we can add your factory horn. So the horn and the siren are both going off. That way it kind of separates your car from everybody else's. But also with an aftermarket system, you can get different remotes. So I've got two different ones here. You have a one-way system, meaning it's going to work just like the factory alarm. It's going to lock, unlock, and remote start or pop the hatch if you have those features added. Whereas with something like this here, it's going to lock, unlock, pop the hatch, and remote start if you have those features added. But it's also going to notify you on the remote here. So if you're inside a restaurant or something and your alarm's going off, you're going to get paged right on the remote and know what's going on. So let's talk about the different types of security systems and ways to protect your vehicle. So with a factory alarm, if they open the door, it sets it off. They can break a window, they can climb in there, hang out, throw a party, have their friends in there. It's never going to set the alarm off as long as they don't open a door. With our system, it has a dual stage impact sensor. So if they bump the car, it's going to chirp. They hit it hard enough, it's going to set it off. It's usually most sensitive on the driver's side front area because that's where the sensor's at. The further away you get from that area, the less sensitive it is. And again, we don't want it to false, right? So there's ways to prevent different attacks like that. So we sell a glass sensor that's tuned to the frequency of glass shattering. So if they break the window, it would still set the alarm off, even if they don't use a high impact way of doing it, like a baseball bat or a brick. Let's face it, guys, those ways are gone. You know, they're gone in 60 seconds where they're smashing a window, or my favorite was where they're shorting out the fog light and it kills the electrical system. Like that stuff doesn't exist anymore. They're doing high-tech stuff. You know, Hyundais and Kias are getting stolen all the time with a USB because they can put that on the nub of your ignition cylinder and turn it. That's all. It's not, there's nothing on the USB that's like coding or anything like that. Like it's just, there's no immobilizer built into the key. So they can just turn the ignition and go. Let's talk about our immobilizers real quick, right? So a lot of the newer keys have a chip or something built into them that's going to tell the car's computer it's okay to start the car. It's not a chip like the old days that you see in the actual metal blade of the key. It's usually built into the top of the key or into your key fob itself. A lot of the thieves have gotten pretty smart with that, and they're doing what's called relay attacks. And what that is where you got a guy kind of close to your house that's able to pull the signal from the key fob, and you got another guy by your car that's able to transmit to that, and now your car thinks that your key is there and disarmed and can start and go away. Our security systems would prevent that if it's installed properly. So that's why you need to come see a professional and talk to them and make sure that you're getting what you need for that car to keep it secure. So what I mean by that is on a Hellcat, we could have it set up so that your factory fob, because it's a push start vehicle, your factory fob can control our remote start system, right? But the downside of that is if they're doing this relay attack, where you got a guy standing there who's grabbing the frequency from your factory fob, and you got another guy over by your car that's transmitting the signal to it, well, they just disarmed your security system because we're using that same code, right? So we wouldn't want that to work. You would want to get an actual remote for that car to protect it and keep it yours. But yet on Hyundai Kia, that's not how they're grabbing that car, right? They're going to break in, they're going to do it the old-fashioned way. They're not using a relay attack for that. So that's why it's imperative to make sure that you go to the right shop that knows security and knows your car.
Start the recording.
I do what I want. You know,
Start the recording.
You don't tell me how to live my life.
MECP certified, Danotech production. So continuing on with factory alarm versus aftermarket security, there's different sensors you can add on aftermarket security. Again, our systems are all going to come with a dual stage impact sensor, which is already one up from the factory, because what it's going to do is it's going to, again, tell you when someone bumps the car versus when someone actually hits it hard enough to set it off. It's most sensitive in the driver's side area. As you walk away from that, it gets less sensitive. Another popular sensor that we do on on most of our security systems is a glass sensor. It's a microphone that's tuned to the frequency of glass shattering. So when they break that window, it still sets the alarm system off. Now, many people ask me why they need that if they have a shock sensor. And it's simple, really. Most of the time when they're breaking the glass, they're not using a brick or a baseball bat or something like that to break the window because it's going to make too much noise. They want to drop it with the least amount of noise possible. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take a screwdriver and pry it into the side of the window frame and just put pressure on it until that window shatters. It never makes any noise. An impact sensor would never pick it up. It drops the window and they can reach in and open a door, or just reach in and grab something right there. So that's why it's imperative to have a sensor like a glass break sensor to combat that. They may break that window still, but it's going to set the alarm off right away, even if they don't open the door. Another one that's common that we use, not all the time, but a lot of the time, is we can do a digital tilt sensor. And what that does is it detects any 1 degree of inclination shift from where that sensor's at. So not the car itself, but just from where the sensor is at. It's really helpful if someone tries to put your car on a rollback or a tow truck. It's going to notify you right away. It does help against stealing the wheels and tires off the vehicle, but it's not a fail-safe. Again, that's where all these sensors play in. Having more sensors added makes the vehicle more secure. It doesn't make it more sensitive per se, but it's going to make it more secure, because each one of these sensors are basically set up and tuned, if you will, to not false. Now, the one thing I tell all of my clients is we're in a controlled environment back here, right? So we set them up to where we feel that they're sensitive enough. Some people may want them a little bit more sensitive or a little less sensitive, but the goal is to make sure that it's not going to false. The last sensor that we do very rarely, but on a Jeep, like a Wrangler or a convertible, something that has a soft top or removable top, I recommend a motion sensor. It's called a proximity sensor, and it detects when someone walks by the vehicle. There's 2 zones. There's an outer zone, which is going to detect when someone walks by, and an inner zone, which is going to detect when someone reaches in. The reason I don't recommend them is they do false. There's no way around it. They're going to false. They work off a barometric pressure, which is just like the weather. It changes constantly. So even if Dan or one of our other techs back here spend hours upon hours dialing it all in, at some point it's not going to be the same, and it's not going to be right, and it's going to false. So I don't like doing those, but it is another way to keep your vehicle safe. So, another good feature about an aftermarket security system is you pick the remotes, right? You don't have just a basic one-way, remote that everybody else and their brother has. You get to pick different remotes. And in those remotes is also going to tell you how you're going to interact with your security system. So we'll start with my favorite, which is the T13 from CompuStar. With this one here, you're going to get notifications on the actual remote control. When you lock and unlock the doors, it's going to arm and disarm your security system. It's also going to notify you when the security system goes off and tell you what's going on. If the door or trunk was open, or if an impact sensor or a glass break sensor or something like that was triggered. Because let's face it, if you're inside a restaurant or something like that, and you hear a loud boom or a loud crash outside and your security system notifies you that, hey, something loud happened, an impact, you're probably not gonna think much of it. But if it shows your doors open, you're gonna run out there and see what the heck's going on, right? So that's great with this because it actually notifies you. Also, if you're in a crowded area and someone's alarm's going off, you don't know if it's yours or not. With this, you will. This gives you up to 3 miles of range, and it also comes with the drone mobile, which I'll talk to you more about in just a minute.
3 miles?
Sahara Desert, God pushing a button, 3 miles. Next one is our two-way, one-button remote. This is cool if you have keyless entry and remote start, but it doesn't do you any good for security. It's going to tell you when you arm and disarm it and tell you when you remote start it. It's not going to tell you when your alarm's going off. So the nice thing is this two-way also comes with the drone, which I'll get into in just a minute, that would notify you on your phone. And then you have your basic. This is more like your factory security, right? Your factory alarms have a basic controller, just like this, or it's built into the key. With this, you have arm and disarm, which is your lock and unlock. You have your hatch release and or trunk release that you can add on if you want, if your vehicle has that. And you have the option for remote start if you want to do that. But like Dan pointed out, it's weak, right? Who cares? You want the two-way, or you want the drone mobile, which is one of my favorites. So the cool thing with this is, let's talk about these two for a second, right? We already said this was one of my favorites. So with this, you get up to 3 miles of range. If all the ducks and camels are lined up perfect, you're in the Sahara Desert and God pushes the button, you'll get 3 miles. Real life, you're never gonna get it. Downtown, hospitals, campus, things with high radio frequency interference, things like that, are gonna drastically reduce the range of this remote control. That's why you have this. With this, you get instant notifications on your phone. So the drone mobile is an app you download on your phone. You can also access it from the internet, so you can go on your computer and pull it up. You can log into your account. You can get real-time tracking if you do their premium service. So if you have a teen driver, you can check and see where they're going, what's going on, where the car's at. You can get geofencing, meaning I can set a perimeter around that car, and if it breaks that perimeter, so if I've got my kid and he's driving or she is driving and they go past a certain point, I'm gonna get an instant notification. If they're going too fast, I'm gonna get notified. If the alarm goes off, I'm gonna get notified right away on my phone. And it all works from cellular. So meaning as long as the car is in an area that has cellular service and I'm in an area that has internet access, either again via my phone or from a computer and I'm logged in, it's gonna notify me. This is the best way to protect your vehicle. This, secondary is your two-way, and then you have the weak remote. But it's still better than a factory alarm, right? So in conclusion, you want a security system and you want it installed by the pros. So come down and check us out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I said it. Come down and check us out. So guys, there's several options for security. The best thing to do is to talk with somebody about it, bring the vehicle down, let's look at it together and see the best option. We do a ton of security on work vans, which have different toolboxes and things like that, kind of in the back, or you may have different ways you want to protect it. There's so many options available for your security system that we can really tailor to your liking. One thing that we do with a lot of work trucks is we can pin the toolboxes in the back so that if they were to pry one of those open, it would still set the alarm system off. We do electronic deadbolts. So if you have fleet vehicles and you're managing that fleet and you got the hockey pucks that the guys are required to put on and they don't do it half the time because it slows them down, they don't want to do it, we can set up security systems that have electronic deadbolts so that it arms automatically or will lock with the security system when they arm it. So there's so many options that you really want to check us out. You really want to stop down and again, talk to one of our professionals about how to protect your vehicle the best way. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, it's only as good as its weakest link. So you want to make sure that you're protected. Cut.